Wait for that green light here, baby. Wait for that green light to get going so we can get chatting. There we go. Hey guys, how you going? Today on BKRsport, we're here for the tipping video. Hopefully it's better than last week, eh? Dearie me, I don't think anyone really had a great tipping week last week, to be completely honest with you. But overall, obviously, we sit here. We're going to be going through all the games this weekend, all 8 games. Obviously, Manly is on the bye, so they won't be there. They're top of the table right now, so they'll be pretty happy with the bye, get the free 2 points. But yeah, we'll be going through all 8 of the games. If you guys are watching this after we've gone live and when the video has been uploaded, there will be timestamps for each individual game, so you don't have to worry about clicking through and trying to find them. I will put the timestamps there for all 8 games. Obviously, hello to everyone in the live chat. Appreciate you. We'll get chatting a little bit just before we do get into it. But obviously, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here. Absolutely smash it, baby. Having a great time right now, and off to Cogra this week, actually. I'll be off to Cogra for the Titans versus the Dragons game. But I also did want to jump on here as well and say, appreciate everyone for obviously enjoying the streams on Sunday between the Titans and Tigers and the... who was the other game? Roosters and Dolphins. Obviously, I wasn't here, as you guys knew. That was Antonio. I was at the game, which you saw the vlog yesterday. If you haven't seen the vlog yet from the Titans-Tigers game, go and check it out, because it's a mad vlog, man. It's a mad vlog, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for the most part, being good with Antonio on there and still having fun with him. So yeah, let's go have a look at the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying, and then we will get into our tipparonos. We'll get into our tipparonos for the week. And here, Ricky says Warriors will win. Colin Kennedy says hi. Hello, mate. Medvedev, get around here. Christian Cairns is up at bunnies. James McPaul says let's go. Get around your bonesy boy. Medvedev says Queenslander winning round 1. Yeah, crazy stuff with Queensland. All Queensland teams winning. You had the Titans beating the Tigers. You had the Dolphins beating the Roosters. Holy shit. That's crazy. The Dolphins beating the Roosters. I tell you what, I would have gone off on the Roosters in that live stream if I was there for that one. Then you have the Cowboys beating the Raiders in a close-knit affair there. You had the Storm, obviously beating the Eels, who's basically a Queensland team. There's actually, I believe, only 2 Sydney New South Wales teams that won this week. I think that's it. I think it was and the Broncos obviously beating the Panthers. I think it was, and they had to play fellow New South Wales teams as well. It was the Manly Sea Eagles beating the Bulldogs, and... who was the other one? Gee whiz. No, the Rabbitohs beat the Sharks. Yeah, they were the only 2 Sydney teams, I believe, that won. So, yeah, crazy week. And obviously, if anyone tipped the Dolphins game, kudos to you, man. I hope you put money on it, because they were paying like $7.50 to win. I refuse to, Christian says, I refuse to believe anybody got that Dolphins Roosters tip correct. Yeah, fair enough, man. If they did, they were just kind of going on sentimental value, I reckon. Snaky Games just tipped Titans last week. I can't believe they're underdogs. And they're underdogs again this week. Crazy. Kieran Foran's in the 6-2. Tommy says, is Antonio streaming this Sunday while you're in Sydney, BKR? Maybe not. I'm pretty certain he's coming down with me to Cogra, but if he's not coming down with me to Cogra, then yes, he'll be streaming here. Dazmate says, Dogs 13 plus this week. Clay Gray Sinclair says, what are your predictions for the Dolphins? We'll get there, Clay. Well, just relax, man. Just wait a second. But just wait a second, man. We're going to talk a little bit here, and then we'll get into our tips. Then we'll get into it. Just relax. Take it easy, man. Legend says, are you going to make another Supercoach video? Yeah, they are going to be sparingly, Legend. But I will do one. I might do one tomorrow, actually. I might jump on tomorrow, because I might do a stream or whatnot tomorrow going through my Supercoach team, because I didn't actually have that great of a round, actually. I think I barely made the 1,000 mark, unfortunately. Because I did captain James Tedesco, which wasn't fantastico mundos. Tommy Brighton says, bro, I wish you streamed that. Holy shit, I would have gone off, bro. Medvedev says, I was shocked when Dolphins won. Kent Bro says, curious to see how the Titans go without Foran. Holbrook seems to be running with JC at 5'8", but I still think we can make it 2-0. So Foran's been named in the team. Foran has been named in the team for this week. But, guys, let's get into the tips. Otherwise, we'll be here forever just talking footy. So, obviously, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe for new around here. Comment in the chat your thoughts of the games too. And then, obviously, I'll read through the chat after the game and go through a bit of a one-on-one there with you guys then. But, alrighty, here we go. So, the first game off the chopping block is the Thursday night game. We've had 2 really good Thursday night games to start off the season. First, it was Storm Eels. This one is the Penrith Panthers taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Obviously, the Panthers lost to the Broncos last week in an absolute bolter of a game, 13-12 there. Absolutely fantastic result there for the Broncos, but my goodness me, Panthers losing at home, unheard of, let alone after that St. Helens game, and let alone to the Broncos. Crazy. So they're in 11th place right now, with the South Sydney Rabbitohs being in 4th after they took down the Sharkies. No Nico Hines there. But the Rabbitohs did look sweet. Lachlan Elias was absolutely fantastic in this game. Now, this game is in Penrith too, so quite crazy to me that Penrith get 2 home games to start off with there, but then again, they lost one of them. So the Panthers are our favourites there at $1.63, while the Rabbitohs are $2.28. I believe there is about to be news. I haven't seen the team list yet, guys. As you guys know, I wait for this and then I look at the team list live, except for the Titans, so I know what our team list is. So, the ins and outs here for the Panthers. Jack Cogger, Lindsay Smith, Matty Eisenhuth, Tom Jenkins, Tyrone Peachy. They come in, with Scotty Sorensen being the only out there. The fullback, Dylan Edwards, with Sonia Tarova and Brian To'o on the wings, and then Stephen Crichton and Isaac Tungo in the centres. Jerome Luai is the 6, Nathan Cleary is the 7. Moses Leota is in the prop with James Fisher-Harris. Mitch Kenny is the number 9 with Luke Garner, Liam Martin back row, Isaiah Yeo in the lock. Sonny Luke, Matty Eisenhuth, Spencer Leniu and Jamin Salmon are the interchange with Zach Hosking, Lindsay Smith, Tyrone Peachy, Jack Cogger and Tom Jenkins as the reserves. The biggest thing I take note of in regards to looking at this team is pretty much it is the exact same team as last week. I feel like they're going to really want to have to bounce back from that one. If they start 0-2, that will really shock the comp, really. But the biggest thing for me is Sonny Luke needs to get more game time. Like, he came on way too late in that game. You guys know in the live stream, I was complaining about it. If you guys don't know, if some of you guys don't know, I do live stream reactions to the games, and I was not happy with Sonny Luke being on the bench for like 50 to 60 minutes there. When he came in, he was actually one of the better players in the game and played very, very limited. So Sonny Luke needs to go in for Mitch Kenny a lot quicker, in my personal opinion. But I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if Ivan Cleary is actually thinking about that. That's just my thoughts. Moving on to the South Sydney Rabbitohs here. They got Ben Lovett, Daniel Saluka Fafita, Peter Mamazelis, Tane Milne, Talis Duncan, and Terrell Kalakalo coming in, with Jai Arrow and Tavita Totola going out there. So that's 2 decent sized losses there on the outs. You got Trell Mitt in the fullback, which is tentative. He might not play in this game, but tentatively he is in the fullback, with Alex Johnson and Isaac Tuituopu Thompson on the wings, Campbell Graham and Isaiah Tass in the centres. Cody Walker is in the 6 with Lachlan Illies in the 7, who had an absolutely unbelievable game. In my breakout players of the season back about a month and a half ago with Sammy Revel, I called Lachlan Illies, man. You know, he's had a full season under his belt, plus also the Greece national cap, and I called it. He's honestly going to have a fantastic season if that game is anything to go by. He was easily the best player in that field. You go to the front rowers here, Daniel Saluka Fafita and Thomas Burgess, and then Damien Cook in the number 9. Kieran Kolomatangi and Michael Cheekham in the back row, Cameron Murray, the captain, in the lock. You got Blake Tuff, Jed Cartwright, Davy Moali, and Shakai Mitchell interchange with Talis Duncan, Terrell Kalakalo, Ben Lovett, Tane Milne, and Peter Mumbles-Ellis as the reserves. So, yeah, look, this is a really difficult game to predict again. You know, I would not be surprised either way who wins this game. And it does also rely quite heavily on Latrell Mitchell playing, if he does. Obviously, you guys have seen myself and Latrell Mitt actually having a bit of banter on Instagram in the stories. We're good guys. It's all a bit of fun there ahead of the Seabus trip for him this year. We're talking about the drums and whatnot. But in regards to this game, like, it's really going to be reliant heavily upon if Latrell Mitt plays or not. But I also don't see the Panthers losing 2 games in a row at home. I'm not too sure about that. I think that if you're going based on form, you definitely go on the Rabbitohs. But I don't know. Is it just because I'm looking too much into the fact they're 2 premiership winners in a row and also a grand final before that? I know Api Sakura-Sau's a massive loss. That was the key thing there. But the Panthers just didn't have that same vibe about them. They didn't have that same, menacing feeling and energy about them in the week just gone against the Broncos. So I'm gonna take the Panthers here. I'm gonna take the Panthers here. I'm not confident at all. However, I just don't know if I can tip them. Losing 2 games in a row. I think that'd be quite crazy in my personal opinion. So I'm gonna take the Panthers, but that is a really, really close game to call. Let's have a look at what you guys say in the chat. Legend, welcome to the channel. Mohammed says Storm to win, mark my words. We'll talk about that soon. Legend says Penrith 1-12. Typical Zane says hi. Woodard says Panthers are the NRL's babies. Of course, they get 2 home games in a row. Maybe it could be raining tomorrow. I'm not sure what that is. Woodard says Sonny Luke needs to be an 80-minute play. I agree. Oh, 80-minute play, maybe not. Maybe not. He has a lot of speed. He has a lot to provide, but maybe not an 80-minute play just yet. I could definitely see him starting and go for 60 minutes or something like that. Maybe not necessarily an 80-minute player just yet, but I definitely think that he should be starting over Mitch Kenny. But then again, it did work so well when he came on. It's just he came on too late. I don't actually have a problem with Mitch Kenny starting. I'm not going to lie. I don't actually have that much of a problem with that. What I have a problem with it is that it took way too long to implement Sonny Luke into the game. That's all I'll say. Also, I will put it out there. Broncos were very clearly the winners in that game. However, there were some controversial calls late on there that did kind of mess around with Penrith. However, Broncos were very, very good. But we'll get into them in a sec. But Sonny Luke needs to be played more minutes for sure. For sure. They need to start Luke. Desmate says, Jesse Hampson says, I understand Penrith lost, but you've got to give it up to the Broncos. They were defensively phenomenal. Yeah, Penrith vs South should be a cracker as well. They were. The Broncos were clearly the better team. They clearly were the better team. I was angry. You guys know I'm not a big fan of the Broncos. I was angry when the Panthers scored... when Selwyn Cobbo lost the ball backwards and nearly ended up being a try for the Panthers, because I just felt like it's just so unfair to the Broncos if they lost that game with how well they played. And it shakes the competition up. You know, as much as I have my likes, dislikes, biases and whatnot, I want to see an entertaining competition. And with the Panthers losing that first game and so many upsets in that first round, it's fantastic for the league. It really is. But he says, looking forward to round 2, only suffered 2 losses in the tips. Oh, geez, you did well, mate. You did well, because not many other people got that much. Thomas says, Rabbits win... Okay, there you go. Christian Ketson will beat Penrith. Guys, leave a lot of the comments about other games for when we do them, because obviously we're just kind of going one by one here. Christian Ketson will beat Penrith in the final series this year when it matters. I think South have good momentum, Bonesy Boy says. Yeah, look, fair. I just, at home, 2 games in a row, like, if the Panthers lose this one as well, there is going to be major alarm bells ring. Because they would have expected to win against the Broncos and then had this game as a 50-50, so they'd at least be 1-1 if they lost this game. But because they lost that game with the Rabbitohs, they now have a lot of pressure on the team as well. So yeah, I feel like there's just so much pressure riding on this game, and I believe the Panthers should get it done at home. If this was a South Sydney home game, I would have tipped the Rabbitohs. I would have, absolutely. Panthers 1-12, Jack Dempsey says... Ken Brothers says Teachers Pet equals Panthers. Jason Paul says tough game because they go either way. Yeah, rough game to start off with. Well, great game for us to watch, but rough game tipping wise to start off with. Says, I just hope I get a lot of fantasy points. And Sam DeMorland says Rabbits 1-12. There you go. Okay, so that's that game done there, guys. I'm taking the Panthers, maybe. I'm taking the Panthers based on the fact that I believe it's just going to be too tough to see them. Too tough to see them losing 2 games in a row at home. But guys, alright, let's move on now to the Eels taking on the Cronulla Sharkies. Now obviously guys, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here, get around it, big season coming on up. But the Eels are the favourites here at $1.58, the Sharkies being $2.40. Now both these teams did lose in round 1. The Eels lost to the Storm in also a belter of a game, 16-12 I think it was, a 4-point game because Harry Grant scored that try in extra time. It was kind of a matter of both teams wanted to lose that game, but the Eels wanted to lose it more. You could just see, like, Micah Sivo kicking the ball out in first tackle when they're 10 metres out from the line, you know, in extra time, was the silliest thing I've ever seen in my life. Just the mistakes in this game was just incredible. You know, I had high hopes for the Eels this year. I thought that they'd be better than everyone was saying. That game didn't give me a lot of confidence, but Jermaine Hopgood was absolutely incredible. Even though he cost the try to Harry Grant, he was incredible for the entire game. And then you got the Cronulla Sharkies, who obviously they played the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They had no Nico Hines, a lot of direction missed there, a lot of experience missed there. I know he's not the oldest guy for experience, but he's also got a lot of experience in the clutch moments. And there were times throughout that game where you really would have liked Nico Hines there to settle down the ship and just kind of power forward. It was 12-12 at half time. But this game is in CommBank Stadium in Sydney. Let's go through the 2-team lineups here. So Bailey Simonson, Hayes Dunster, Kai Rodwell, Offa Ogden, and Sean Russell come in with Isaac Lume going out. So Sean Russell, he's coming to my Supercoach team for whoever was talking about the Supercoach before. Clint Gutherson is the captain in the fullback with Micah Sivo and Sean Russell on the wings. Will Penasini and Wonga Blake in the centres with Dylan Brown in the 6 and Mitchell Moses as the halfback. Regan Campbell-Gillard and Drew DiPolo as the front rowers there with Josh Hodgson in the number 9. God, he's got to have a better game. He was clearly my worst on field. He really was. He was clearly my worst on field in that game. It was a big downgrade from Reid Marnie to him based on how Reid implemented himself into that Eels system. Bryce Cartwright and Matt Dorey in the back row with Jermaine Hopgood, wowee, in that 13. He was really fantastic. If you didn't have him in your Supercoach, you're just silly. Jerome Momolisia, Jack Murchie, Wirra McGreig, and Makahesi Makotoa is the interchange, with the reserves being Jake Arthur, Bailey Simonson, Offa Ogden, Kyle Redwall, and Hayes Dunster. My biggest concern about this team is the fact that the halves go missing. They go missing in the big moments, in the big games. It just doesn't seem like these two guys click when it actually means something. It's crazy, man. It really is crazy because they should have won against the Storm. They should have won it. But these guys are a big reason as to why they didn't. They don't do it in the clutch. So this is where I'm looking at when I'm looking at this Parramatta Eels team. Moving on to the Cronulla Sharks now. Inns, Connor Tracy, Jaden Burrell, Max Bradbury, Nivai Peru, Royce Hunt, and Thomas Hazelton, with Jack Williams and Wade Graham being out. William Candy is the fullback today with Sione Katoa and Ronaldo Molotalo on the wings, Jesse Ramian and Cesar Thalakai in the centres. We've got Matt Moyle on the 6 and Braden Trindle on the 7, so you're still not seeing Nico Hines here, and that is a big worry. That is a really big worry. One of these two teams will go 0-2, which is pretty crazy to say, but Braden Trindle goes into the 7, and they really want Nico Hines back pretty damn well quickly. Forwards-wise, Toby Rudolph and Braden Hamlin-Ueli are the front rowers with Blake Brayley in the number 9. Britt Nakora and Teague Wilton back row. Dale Finucane is the lock. Interchange, Cameron McInnes, Royce Hunt, Oregon Kafusi, and Connor Tracy, with the reserves being Thomas Hazelton, Moeni Hiroti, Max Bradbury, Jaden Burrell, and Nivai Peru. So, look, this is pretty much the same team they went with last week. Obviously, they lost Wade Graham. I think Jack Williams might have been on the bench. And there's still no Nico Hines. I feel like overall the Sharks are a bad team, but I feel like the Eels' home ground advantage here should really come up clutch for them. It really should come up clutch. I know they're favourites. This should be $1.80 each, you know what I'm saying? Like this is another 50-50 game. It's another 50-50 game. This is going to be another tough week here, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of upsets happened last week, and right now, I wouldn't even class $2.40 like the Sharks as an upset. I think these both should be at $1.80 a piece. The fact that we're saying that with no Nico Hines is telling me that I really do kind of want to take the Sharks because I do believe in their roster besides that 7. And Braden Trittle's not bad, I'm not going to lie. But this Eels team just has... Josh Hodgson really worries me, eh? Like, he stunts the attack quite dramatically. He stunts the attack. Who am I going to tip here? Is this also the game you have to do the... I think this is also the game where you have to do the margin, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It is as well. Look, I think that if anything, it's gonna be a close game. I'll just scroll this down a little bit here. It's going to be a close game here. I can't see a team winning by a great deal. Oh, I really don't know who I want to tip here. It's a really hard one. I really don't know who I want to tip in this game. I'm gonna go the Eels. I'm going to go the Eels and I'm going to go by 2. Oh, man. I'm going to go the Eels and I'm going to go by 2. But don't write the Sharks off, is what I'll say. Don't write the Sharks off. I think that game is harder to tip than the Panthers Rabbitohs game. Because you could either see an Eels team that will come out there and win by, 14, or you'll see an Eels team that will... I think their maximum they can probably lose by is 6 to 8, really. Nico Hines is playing, I'd probably take the Sharks. But I'll take the Eels. I'll take the Eels unconfidently. Unconfidently, I'll take the Eels there. All right, let's go see what you guys say in the chat. Legend says Sharks 1 of 12. Mus says, g'day, BKR, hello, mate. Boys says I got 6 out of 8. Good on you, man. Callegro Sinclair says, where do you think Mitchell Moses is going? He'll stay at the Eels. Wood says, I reckon Sharks will beat them without Hines. It's not a bad call. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going the Eels, but it's not a bad call, man. It's not a bad call. Memphis says, Parry's attacking game looked very mediocre. Still, it was round 1. It was round 1. That's what we've got to keep reminding ourselves. We've got to keep making sure that we're very well aware that it was round 1. Teams are going to improve from here. Teams are going to look clunky. They're going to work their way into it. This is why I always say, and everyone says, who knows the game, wait 5, 6, 7 weeks before you start making wait 5, 6, 7 weeks before you start to really piece together teams and know where they are exactly, is what I'm trying to say there. So, yeah, there's a long way to go before I really solidify my thought process about a team in 2023. However, it was worrying from the Eels in round 1. But then again, the Sharks did fall away in that second half to the Rabbitohs as well, because they lacked the direction of Nico Hines, who's not playing this game. Warner Hill says Junior Paulo played well last week. He did. I will say this. Junior Paulo was fantastic in stats and fantastic in regards to running the ball. But what really grinds my gear about Junior Paulo and the way the Eels are trying to play right now is that he's going up, running, and then turning around and then passing it. It does work with some front row forwards as a playmaker, but it doesn't with Paulo. He's too big. He's too slow in that regard. He'll go up to the line and then he'll turn around and get the ball. You can see it coming a mile away. Like, you can see him making the processes of that playmaking run a mile away. And it didn't work for the Eels. It just didn't. I think just do what you do best, run the ball straight, and just get the job done. I don't feel like you need to add the playmaking into Junior Paulo's game. But he did have a great game in other aspects, in majority of aspects, but just stop making him a playmaker. He's too big of a front rower to really be forcing him to turn around and get the play going that way, in my personal opinion. You've got plenty of playmakers here who should be doing more. You've got plenty of playmakers here that should be doing more. Parra will take this. No grain will hurt Cronulla. He's such a leader for them. Not a bad shout. Brian says, yeah, Sharks still look decent without Hines. They did for the first half. They did. Did for the first half. That last 5 minutes of that Sharks-Rabbitohs game, they were dreadful, though. Like, I think they had like 5 sets and they didn't complete a single one of them. Tom Jennings says, Parra 16, Sharks 10. Warner Hill says, Jordan Polo played really well. That's right. And Memphis says, Parra had a lot of chance in attack against Storm, especially in that first half, but they squandered it. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Trindle was very good last game. He did his job, what he needed to do. He did his job. Nevertheless says, I know the Sharks lost their first round match, but if Parry don't improve in the attack, Sharks will probably win. Again, very 50-50 game. This is the $1.80 written all over. I don't know what those odds are. Honestly, based on the odds, I'd bet on Sharks. But I'm going to tip the Eels just because also homegrown advantage and the loss of Nico Hines, really. I went Eels by 6. I went Eels by 8. Let's move that down here. Christian Kess, the Sharks will grind them out. Eels are a very grinding team as well, to be fair with you, man. Phil says, what do you reckon was the biggest issue with the Eels last week? Just clunkiness in attack. But that also comes down to round 1 nerves, man. It really does. It just comes down to the round 1 jitters that most teams get. That's why you saw so many surprises. It's what happens. It's also a big reason why the Roosters are always in the situation they are. They never play the first game well. They just don't. They never play the first game well. And I underestimated that. I don't even necessarily know how much I believe. To be fair, I didn't watch the game in its entirety, but I still believe that was very heavily in the Roosters being as bad as they were, based on a lot of factors there. But anyway, we're done with that game. Let's move into the next game now, guys, which is the Brisbane Broncos versus the North Queensland Cowboys. Queensland Derby, get into it. Obviously, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new around here. Get in the chat, get around it. But the Brisbane Broncos versus the North Queensland Cowboys. Broncos are 7th, the Cowboys are 8th. Obviously, all Queensland teams won last week. Cowboys won by the least amount. That's why they're in 8th, because the Dragons are in 9th with that bye. The Broncos won by a single point. Actually, both these teams won by a single point. I think the Broncos are just above the Cowboys because the B. I think that's really it, actually. Broncos beat the Panthers 13-12 in a fantastic defensive effort from the Brisbane Broncos. You know, I obviously you guys know my thoughts on the Broncos, but I will tell you how it is. The Broncos were fantastic. They deserved that win. They 100% deserved that win. Yes, controversial calls went against the Panthers late in that game, but overall, it would have been a travesty for the Broncos not to have won. They just clearly were the better team defensively. Now you're just going to hope they can be consistent throughout the season, because we saw it last year. They made the top 4 until the last 5 weeks, and then they went out of this one. They said, see you later. But yeah, exciting times there for the Broncos. They just really need their halfback and Adam Reynolds to... they really need their halfback and Adam Reynolds to be healthy. You know, he's not getting any younger. They need this to really be the year. This year, next year, mainly this year, though, is the year the Broncos need to be the year for that to be success there. In regards to the North Queensland Cowboys, obviously they beat the Canberra Raiders 19-18, I believe it was. It was actually just a super close game late on, but for the most part, the Cowboys actually blew them out, and the Raiders came charging home. And it was a bit odd, because the Cowboys just looked so dominant early days and looked like they were going to rout them. But then, even though they were at home, North Queensland, the Raiders just came rocketing back. And it's like, the Raiders aren't necessarily known for rocketing back in games. Usually, the Raiders are the ones that, you know, they're known as the faders, for example. They fade out of games. They lead, and then they fade, and they choke it away. So it was interesting that they allowed that to happen, because the Raiders, for the most part, looked superbly average. They really did, until the last bit of that game. So maybe, is it the stamina of the Cowboys? Is there maybe fitness issues there? I'm not sure, but I was not greatly convinced in that Cowboys team after that game. But they did definitely deserve the win. They got it there. I think it was 18-18 at one stage, though. Like, if they kicked the field goal after it was equalised, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this game goes, because obviously Queensland derbies are always going to be close. This is at Suncorp Stadium as well, so Broncos home game. But let's get into the two-team lineup. So, the ins here for the Broncos, Brendan Piakura, Jock Madden, Reece Walsh, and Xavier Willison. The fullback today, Reece Walsh, comes back into the team. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do here. Obviously, defensively wasn't great at the Warriors, but he is in a great defense now in the Broncos. So, maybe that'll improve his defense. Maybe he won't have to face too many guys back there, but he needs to improve this year in the defense. Corey Oates and Selwyn Cobb on the wings, with Tony Staggs and Happy Farmworth in the centres. You've got Ezra Mem in the 6 and Adam Reynolds, the captain, in the 7. Corey Jensen and Payne Haas, the front row forwards, with Billy Walters being the number 9. And then Jordan Ricky and Kurt Catewell are the back row. Patrick Carrigan into the lock. Corey Pakes, Keenan Palacia, Thomas Flegler, and Martin Tapau on the interchange, with Jesse Arthurs, Brendan Piakura, Xavier Willison, Jock Madden, and Dean Mariner as the reserves. So, literally straight up what the Broncos went with last week, and... you know, you've got no real complaints about that team list there. For the Cowboys, Gehama Shibasaki, Kulakefu, Finifuaki, Riley Price, and Tom Chester come in. No outs there. The backs, obviously fullback, Shoddy Drinkwater, with Kyle Felt and Murray Talong on the wings. Peter Hiku and Valentine Holmes in the centres. Tom Dearden is the 6, with the 7 being Chad Townsend as the captain. Jordan McLean and Ruben Cotter at the front row. Reece Robertson is the number 9. Cohen Hess and Jeremiah Nanai the back row. And then Jason Tamalolo in the lock. I was really impressed with Cohen Hess. in his improvement from previous years. However, still made a few mistakes as well. But I'm actually impressed with Colin Hess trying to find that form again. Interchange, Jake Granville, Griffin Neame, Jermaine Tanoa-Brown, and James Tarmo, with the reserves being Brendan Elliott, Riley Price, Tom Chester, Gehama Shibasaki, and Kulakefu Fini Fuaki. Alright, so who's going to be my tip here for this game? Another really hard game. Another really, really, really hard game. Tipping is not going to be easy this year, folks. I told you it was going to be a really close year. It's proving to be a really close year. Upsets galore. I don't know who I want to go with here because the Cowboys coming into the year with a better team, but the Broncos right now, it's hard to go past beating the Panthers in Penrith on the opening game of the season and surprising everyone. Oh, man. Because the Broncos were super defensive. Cowboys let it out late. This is going to come down to the wire, man. You know what? I'm pretty certain the Cowboys beat a couple times last year. I'm actually going to take the Broncos because these two teams usually share results. They usually share results, and I'm pretty certain the Cowboys beat them both times last year. I feel like the Broncos are going to be the informed team to start this year, and I think they're going to be the ones that everyone's going to circle jerk for the most part. Yeah, I'm gonna go the Broncos here by like it's 1 or 12, but legitimately like 1, 2, 4 points, less than a try for sure. This game's gonna come down to the wire, so that's a tough game to predict. I'm gonna take the Broncos because they're home, and also because they usually share results, and they're probably the informed team of the competition for the first. Well, Manly, but I'd say Broncos doing well in Penrith. It probably gets it over the line there. But all right, let's have a look at the chat. Brighton says 50-50 game. Flip a bloody coin with this one. I do reckon the Cowboys' attack is better. We might have slightly better defense, and Suncorp helps a bit. Suncorp helps a bit more than a bit. But then again, you know, Broncos and Cowboys galore there. There'll be a lot of Cowboys fans as well. It's not just going to be Broncos fans. Snake games. I mean, last year Roosters lost against the Knights. Drinkwater. Medvedev says, let's go Cowboys. Warner Hill says this one will be hard to pick. All three of the games have been hard to pick, man. Panthers, Rabbitohs, Sharks versus Eels, and Broncos, Cowboys. What a bloody season we are in for, man. Really, truly. Daniel Saz is both these teams from the Titans' shadow. So there you go. So I wasn't really impressed with Cowboys. I think Broncos had a way better week. That's fine, but you don't look at 1 week and say, okay, that's the reason why. I'm not taking the Broncos just because they beat the Panthers. There's a lot of factors that are kind of weighing in there. Cobbo was pretty average at fullback. Yeah, Cobbo is not a fullback for me. Like, he played fullback for Wynnum Manly Seagulls, but not at NRL level. Honestly, they're probably nearly regretting getting rid of Herbie Farnworth. Well, they would be. Herbie Farnworth was incredible. But Herbie Farnworth has gone to the Dolphins because he wants to play fullback. And while I think that the plan is maybe for, is it Ezra to 7, Reece to 6, and Selwyn Cobbo to fullback? Or is it Ezra to 6, Reece Walsh to 7, and then Selwyn to fullback when Reynolds goes? I'm pretty certain one of those is the plan. But they're probably regretting letting Herbie Farnworth go now because they could have kept Selwyn on the wing and then Herbie Farnworth into the fullback. I don't know. We'll see how that one goes. It's still 2 years away before we start thinking about that. TSC Sports are tipping Cowboys, but I'm confident Broncos can win it, especially based on last round's performance. Yeah, I can honestly see myself being 0-3 with these tips. I really can. I really can. Never says, Felt didn't play great all last week either. Bentley Cool loses Broncos by 1 quadrillion. Yeah, probably not. Christian Katz, this game has golden point written all over it. Yeah, it really does. Sandon Waddle says Broncos 1-12. Jack Dempsey says Cowboys 1-12. Luke Bailey says, what section are you sitting in this weekend, mate? I'll update all on the Instagram, man. Obviously, check out BKRsport and Titans Frontline, and I'll update where we are sitting at Cogra this weekend. It'll be on the hills somewhere, though. Ket says Broncos 1-12. Real G says Foreign still playing. Ask me the Titans game. We're not there yet. Matthew Tevitt says Broncos in 4. There's the Broncos fan. Yeah, there he is. All right, there we go, guys. That is my tip for the game. I'm taking the Broncos, but I could so easily see this being a 0-3 for me to start off. But I'm going to back in the home team. Don't let me down, you dogs. Don't let me down, you goddamn dogs. All right, did I put the tip in? Did I actually put the tip in? You know, I don't like to tip the Broncos much, but when I do, you better goddamn win. All right, let's scroll this down. Let's scroll this down here so I've got it on the screen. Bada bing, bada boom. Guys, obviously hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. We get into the first Saturday game here of the day, and it is going to be the Sydney Roosters taking on the New Zealand Warriors, I believe it is. Hold on, let me set 1 second here. Let's go back here. It's the Sydney Roosters taking on the New Zealand Warriors at 2 p.m. Queensland time. Roosters are 15th. They lost their first game to the Dolphins. Crazy, I know. And they're $1.29, which is also crazy, I know, considering they lost a game to the Dolphins. The Roosters have a lot of questions that need to be asked about their early season form and maybe just giving them more of a shit about preseason because they never seem to be ready by round one. Very disappointing, very, very tragic for Roosters fans to lose that game to a brand new team. But then again, Wayne Bennett is the expert. He did that with Broncos against Manly back in 1988, I believe. They won by a whole heap. Both teams that they played, the coach teams that Bennett coached, beat one of the premiership hot favourites in that first week. Broncos versus Manly 1988 and Dolphins versus Roosters in 2023. So keep that in mind. The New Zealand Warriors, on the other hand, they beat the Newcastle Knights. Now, not convincingly. That game was dreadful in so many regards. The Warriors have a lot of goddamn work to do still. The Warriors really need to shape up in regards to just defense and attack, really. I think the defense is probably okay, but the attack was just... You know my thoughts on Shaun Johnson. Been fantastic in the past. Loved that guy, but time to move on. Some of his kicks are just not for me, bro. They're not for me. But the favourites, obviously, $1.29 there for the Roosters, $3.62 for the Warriors. Also in that game as well, between the Warriors and the Knights. Gee whiz, the Warriors gave away a lot of penalties and 6 against. And so the Knights, both teams were just... Yeah, both teams were something else, eh? Going into the ins and outs, Ben Thomas, Eliel Zakam, Joey Manu into the team, Sandon Smith and Sua Wong in, with Matthew Lodge going out. James Tedesco, the captain in the fullback, with Daniel Tupou and Jackson Paulo on the wings. Joey Manu and Joseph Suali'i are the centres. Now, I wanted to just really pinpoint here that Joey Manu in the centres is really going to shore up this side a little bit more because... that centre wing pairing last week just weren't it, eh? Luke Keary is the 6 and Sam Walker in the 7 with Lindsay Collins and Fletcher Baker in the front row. Brandon Smith hype's died down a little bit. Thought I'd reiterate that, but he's into the hooker with Egan Butcher and Nat Butcher into the back row. Victor Radley is the 13. Jake Turpin, Drew Hudson, Nafahu White and Terrell May are the interchange with Corey Allen, Ben Thomas, Sandon Smith, Suya Wong and Eli El Zakam as the reserve. I noticed that Jake Turpin comes into the team here. He was over in the reserves, wasn't he? I don't believe he played. I could be wrong though, because again, didn't get to watch that game in its entirety because I was at the Titans game. But I was complaining last week about how there was no interchange for Brandon Smith, who's not an 80-minute hooker. But overall, it's still a Roosters team that really should be winning this one in a canter. But it's hard to back in after what we saw on the weekend. Ins, Bailey Sirenen, Ronald Volkman, Tane Tuolpiki, and Viliami Vailea with no outs. Charles Newell-Clockstad in the fullback. How incredible was he? He was very, very good in the fullback. Raiders form 2019 in the fullback on the weekend. You've got Edward Cosi and Marcel Montoya on the wings with Braden Williami and Adam Pompey in the centres. You've got Tamari Martin in the 6 and Shaun Johnson in the halfback. Adam Fanua-Blake with Mitchell Barnett front row. Wade Egan is the number 9. Jackson Ford and Marata Niokoro back row. Jackson Ford was just a machine. Thank God I picked up him in fantasy before the season started because, gee whiz, he was good. Tohu Harris is the captain in the lock with Dylan Walker, Bunty Afor, Josh Curran and Tom Ale interchange. Reserves being Viliami Vailea, Freddie Lussick, Ronald Volkman, Tane Tuolpiki and Bailey Sirenen. So, yeah, between these two teams, I'm going to take the Roosters, lads. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to straight up tell you that I think the Roosters win this game. If you tip the Warriors and they win, honestly, congratulations, man. I hate that I've tipped all home teams so far. I really hate that. But I've got the Roosters here because they do have a much, much better team on paper. Surely that shocked the system with their round 1 loss to the Dolphins. Surely they don't start 0-2. I did say the Roosters were overhyped this year based on their roster. I think their backline's fantastic, but the forwards, there's a lot to be desired, in my personal opinion, in regards to just energy, and I think there's better teams in regards to the forwards pack. So I did say that I think the Roosters are a little bit overhyped this year. But overall, this backline really should tear this backline apart. Their attack should be a lot better, and just hopefully they don't drop as many balls, and hopefully they're not as defensively weak. I don't know. Trent Robbo should be able to get this team up. So I'm going to take the Roosters here, and I'm going to take them 13 plus. Yeah, I'm going to take them 13 plus. And if they don't, then they should be severely disappointed in themselves. They should be severely, severely disappointed in themselves. All right, so let's go have a look what you guys are saying in the chat. Just says we have Madden. He can. Oh, that's right. That's the last game. Legend says, fun fact: no team has lost to the Dolphins in round 1 and won the comp. It's a fair call. It's a fair call. You're not wrong. Also, fun fact: the Dolphins are undefeated in the NRL history. But they've also never beaten the Gold Coast Titans. So take that. What is this? Warriors 40 plus. Don't know about that one. Don't know about that one. Brighton says, I'd love a Wars upset. It'd be fantastic for the game for the Wars to get an upset here for sure. Yeah, the Warriors win this game. That would blow the roof off the Roosters, man. Gee whiz, it definitely would be Trillions. Snaky Games, I feel like the Roosters are going to come back swinging after that embarrassing game last week. You would hope so, mate. You would hope so. Same kind of emphasis on why they tipped the Panthers, maybe. But yes, yeah, I would agree. Legend says, whoever said Roosters were favourites to win the comp must still think the year is 2019. I put them in 5th. Majority of people had them in the top 2. Majority did. I put them in 5th, though. I still think that's a pretty reasonable assumption. And I still think 1-2 is possible in an idealistic world, but I don't think it happens personally. Brian says, the Chooks got pretty beaten up by the Finns, man. They may be struggling this week, too. I think they should be able to do it. They should be able to do it here, especially at home, too. That game was at least at Suncorp away from home. This one's at home. I don't see the Roosters going 0-2. If they do, it will really shake the comp up. Just so comment saying Eels win the comp. I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime now. Wildred said, want to know how much Robbo paid to have Radley playing this week after getting KO'd. Beers man says Roosters to bounce back for this one. Martin is looking good for me though. Cats, I'm tipping the Roosters, but unsure after the Dolphins game. I think everyone's unsure, bro. Mevita says the Chooks looked lost against the Dolphins. Their defense was awful, and it's not normally what we're used to seeing watching Sydney play. Sydney can be not the greatest defensively in recent years. I think attacking-wise they've always been great, but defensively they've been 75-25. Like, you'll see some poor games as well, for sure. Jack Dempsey says Roosters 13+. Bailey Floss says Roosters 13+. Let them get around the wires. Bugs, I know we're past the Broncos, but them being a Suncorp for the next 5 games, surely that's bullshit. Oh, that's absolutely bullshit. Oh, absolutely, Bug. Absolutely. But then again, we all know what it's like. Brisbane get all the Friday night games, Thursday night games, or the Sunday on Channel 9. Like, it's catered towards them. Sandra Morton says Roosters 13+. Mevita says it's definitely reasonable to pick the home teams considering the first few matches are close. I feel like you'd need that home ground advantage. Yeah. Burger Media says Roosters lose. That's a big call, man. That's a real big call. Smitty says, stop the comp now. Top 8 looking good enough. Hey, listen, I'll take it. Look, hand the premiership to Manly. I don't give a shit. Gold Coast Titans come second. I will take it, mate. I will take it. So, absolutely. Smitty says, big lol at Broncos apparently having the toughest draw. Well, they probably have a tough draw. That doesn't mean they don't get catered to in regards to, you know, getting home games and TV rights games and being able to make money through that. Like, it is what it is. But I'm taking the Roosters here. I'm going to take them 13+, and surely they get back to winning ways there. All right, we move into the 5th game of the weekend, which is going to be the Dolphins versus the Raiders here, which is going to be a difficult game to predict. It is. I keep saying it, but it keeps being true, man. I'm telling you, all these games are super duper damn well difficult. Let me just, we'll scroll down here so you guys can see the next couple of games as well. Bada bing, bada boom. Obviously, guys, hit our thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new around here. And don't forget, we'll be streaming every game this weekend live. I'll be at the Titans game, though. But all right, so the Dolphins and the Raiders here. Dolphins are $2.52 underdogs, which is impressive. They're 3rd place, obviously, after they beat the Roosters. Good win for them. You know, they were physical. They were tough. They really grounded out hard. Was it the occasion, though? Was it the occasion? Big occasion there. I think 75 odd years in the making or whatever. They've been in the Queensland Cup. You know, fantastic result for them, but was it the occasion? Did they get up for this one? I don't know. I would honestly love to see them beat the Raiders. I really would love to see them do it. Not anything against the Raiders, just because it'd be great for the comp if the Dolphins went 2-0, to be completely honest with you. I tipped them for last. I'm going to wait for the first 5 rounds before I start saying I don't or I do believe in what I said. You know, I think 1 round is a little bit too much to go on, but it was a great result for them. Raiders, on the other hand, they're in 10th place. They did lose to the Cowboys by 1 point. 50-50 game, but the Raiders are always known as a 50-50. They're so inconsistent, man. You know, they can turn it on, but they also, when they're off, they are off, man. Like, they're not just off, they are off when they're off, man. So, look, I was impressed with their comeback, and they're probably unlucky they didn't win that game. But overall, the Raiders are the Raiders. And I'm happy with where I've put them at the moment. I'm happy with where I predicted them around that 10th area, 10th, 11th, because they just look like they're going to be a team that have such hot moments, but have such cold moments in games, man. That's exactly what happened. Now, this first game here is at KO Stadium. This game here is the first time at KO Stadium in Redcliffe. Sold out. Geez, if you're going to that game, guys, don't drive because how do you get there? Otherwise, you know, it's just going to be really fun to see you guys getting out of that stadium. It's a shocking stadium for parking and driving to and getting to. But the Dolphins here, the ins, Anthony Milf, J.J. Collins, Cody Nicarima, Mason Teague, Robert Jennings in, with Ray Stone being one of the outs. Fullback, Hamisa Tapuai-Fidow, with Jermaine Sarko, who had a great game, and Tessinu on the wings. Too bad Jermaine Sarko couldn't do that with the Titans. But they're on the wings there, with Ewan Aiken and Branko Lee in the centres. Isaiah Katoa into the 6, with Sean O'Sullivan in the 7. Jesse Bromwich and Jared Wallace in the front row. Jeremy Marshall-King in the hooker. Felice Kafusi and Kenneth Bromwich back row. Tom Gilbert is the lock. Go to the interchange now. Canelli Lemielu, Mark Nichols, Mason Teague, and Kurt Donohoe. With the interchange being Poasa Famasili, Jada Collins, Cody Nicarima, Anthony Milford, and Robert Jennings going into the reserves. So, yeah, same team for the Dolphins as last week, just minus Ray Stone, obviously. I just don't know how to call them, man. I really don't. I don't know if they're the real deal or if that was just the occasion. It really does scare me there. Moving to the Raiders now. Alba Hawade, James Schiller, Peter Holler, Trey Mooney, and Zach Wolf go in with Jordan Rapana being out. Sebastian Chris is the fullback with Nick Kottridge and Alba Hawade on the wings. Matthew Tomoko and Harley Smith Shields are the centres. You go to the 5'8 now, and you've got Jack Whiten there. Jamal Fogarty is the 7. Pasami Saulo with Joseph Tarpanay in the front row. Daniel Levi is the hooker. Hudson Young and Elliot Whitehead captain, with Corey Huddle-Renara in the 13. Tom Starling, Adam Mariota, Corey Horsburgh, and Emre Gula are the interchange, with James Schiller, Matt Frawley, Zach Wolford, Trey Mooney, and Peter Holler are the replacements. Like, this is another occasion game, man. It is, because it's the first game at Dolphin Park, at KO Stadium there. I don't know. Like, it is another occasion game that they absolutely could get up for, if you know what I'm saying. But also, they could have put all their efforts in. They could have put all their efforts in to win that game against the Roosters. A big dog to really establish themselves as a team early days. Oh, do I tip the Dolphins? Do I tip the Dolphins? Will I be crazy here? Will I be crazy here and tip the Dolphins? No, I'm not. I'm going to take the Raiders. I'm going to take the Raiders there. I'm going to back in the fact that was an occasion game for the Dolphins in that first one, and that the Raiders should be a little bit more established to get the win here, and they're not the Roosters round 1 record. I'm going to take the Raiders. I would love the Dolphins to win this game, though. Like, truly, I would love the Dolphins to win this game, go 2-0, and Raiders would then go 2-0 as well. But I think the Raiders will be too good. I feel like they'll be able to grind their way over the line. I feel like the Raiders are more of a grindy team than the Roosters are, for sure. And I feel like if the Raiders make it into a grind and take the energy out of the stadium, the fans, and the team, I think the Raiders will be able to get that win. So I'm going to take the Raiders here. Tough game again, man. I appreciate you guys for the members. Members for 19 months. Blitzy, Bailey Fuller member for 9 months, and also a member for 6 months to Brighton. Appreciate you guys. Sharks by Fiddy, I think. You're a Muppet. Will Macca says they are at KO Stadium in Redcliffe. Yeah, they are. Walnut Hill says Raiders 1-12. Bones Boy says Raiders aren't cool face for no reason. Absolutely. Never says, I can see why Raiders playing good. I can see the Raiders playing good, not great, but enough to get over the line. That's exactly what I was saying, yeah. And I can see them playing absolutely dreadful because, like you said, they're not considered consistent. They're definitely not consistent at all. Definitely not considered consistent at all there. Walnut Hills Raiders 1-12. The Eels are the best team. Wood says Isako actually had a good game. How wild? Wild, Wildred. As a Titans fan, it definitely was wild, Wildred. Definitely was wild. That's for sure. Will Marcus says Finns 1-12. Jack Tatum says Dolphins 1-12. We'll just be crazy. I am crazy, but I'm not going to be crazy in regards to this one. I'm not crazy in regards to this one, Wilfred. Guess I have no idea for this game. I don't think anyone does, because you don't have anything to really back off with the Dolphins. You got one game, but it's like, that could have easily just been one of those one games kind of, slap-ups. It could have just been the perfect scenario for them to get that win. Last round, I got 2 out of 8 tipping. I don't think I did much better. I think I got like 4 last round. Neville says this is probably the most hardest to predict in my opinion. I know there's Panthers versus Rabbitohs and Broncos versus Cowboys, but this is a match that's going to be all over the place. It is a match that's going to be all over the place. I think the easiest game for me to predict is the Roosters Warriors so far. Every other game is so 50-50. So 50-50. Bailey Ford says Finns up 1-12. Peter Bulldog says Bulldogs 12. Okay, we're not in the Bulldogs game yet. Finns up to 1-12. Yeah, people are saying Dolphins, but I also think that a lot of people are tipping the Dolphins because they have a new team. They want them to win. I don't think that realistically you should be backing in the Dolphins to win based off of anything. I think that if you're taking the Dolphins, it probably is just simply solely based on the one game, and that is the only game we can go off. But with that being said, like, maybe that was just a one occasion thing. I don't know. I just feel like the safe bet is the Raiders, and I feel like that's the smart bet too. Do we Tigers as Raiders 1-12? There you go. All right, so that's that game there done. Let's move on to the next game here. Did I tip? I think I did my tip, right? I do it because this is the time I get to do my tips. But let's move this down a little bit so you can see the next games. We've got 3 games to go here, guys. 3 games to go. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new around here. Absolutely get around it. All right, that's done. That's done there. All right, let's get back to it. So, the next game here on Saturday afternoon. Oh, no. Is that right? Oh, no, 4:30 p.m. Sorry, no, I did that one. Okay, no, so I'm into this. Yeah, Storm Bulldogs. All right, so we're into the Melbourne Storm versus the Canterbury Bulldogs now. I was confused for a second then. This is the late Saturday night game, 6:35 p.m. for us here in Queensland, 7:35 for you guys down there in New South Wales. Melbourne Storm Bulldogs. Melbourne Storm are 6th place. They got a grindy win. Cameron Munster injury, big out there. We'll get into that in a second. Yeah, tough win there for the Storm. It really was. It was a tough win there for the Storm. Harry Grant got a try late in the extra time, put it over the line. Overall, it was a mediocre Storm performance. Actually, really, really mediocre. But it just shows how good the Storm are to be still able to grind out a win in those circumstances. Surprising that the Storm are still $1.50 favourites. But the reason why I'm like, maybe that's probably the right odds is because the Canterbury Bulldogs, the other team here, just were dreadful against Manly, man. Just were dreadful. One of the worst performances I've seen. Well, actually, it was clearly the worst performance of the weekend because they are in 17th right now. They are in last. $2.62 is actually probably generous considering how bad they played. They don't look like they have any combinations ready just yet. They didn't look like they had the defense. Manly are in form as shit right now. They won the preseason challenge and they also won their first game, obviously, against the Dogs. But overall, I think that proved to me and everybody else what I've been saying in regards to the fact that the Bulldogs need time to click. Also, I think it's time Gus Gould moves on. I do. I think he's done what he needs to do. I think he's got them to this position and now move on. Like he did at Penrith. They didn't start becoming successful until he left. He built them, but they needed to leave after that one for them to be successful. And I think he needs to go here with the Bulldogs and let Cameron Ciraldo do it because if he trusts him, then trust him. You know, let him get the job done there. But I can understand why the Bulldogs are that much underdogs, even with the out that I'm about to mention. In here for the Storm, Aaron Penne, Grant Anderson, Joe Chan, Jonah Pezzett, and Kane Bradley, with the out being the big fella Cameron Munster, which means 2 of their starting spine are out of this game. Nick Mennie is the fullback, with Will Warbrick and Xavier Coates in the wings, Raymond Smith and Young Tonomapia in the centres, with Tyron Wishart and Jerome Hughes in the halves. Wishart struggled when he came on against the Eels. Nelson Salamona and Christian Welch front row. Had a great time looking at Christian Welch, man. Fantastic to see him bounce back from that ACL injury he did in round 1 last year. Harry Grant, the hooker, with Trent Loiero and Elias Katoa in the back row. Josh King is the lock. Bronson Garlick, Alec McDonald, Aaron Penne, and Jordan Grant are the interchange, with Grant Anderson, Chris Lewis, Joe Chan, Kane Bradley, and Jonah Pezzett are the reserves. Yeah, this is all over the shop, but in the same sense, we know what the Storm can do. We know what the Storm can do. But I'm about to tell you about something in a second. Moving on to the Dogs now. Jackson Tapine, Jaden Ockenball, Kyle Oluwapu from the Broncos who came across, and Curtis Marin go in, with the outs being nobody. Hayes Perm is the fullback, with Jacob Carrazza and Josh Haddocar on the wings. Jake Averillo and Paul Alamotti are the centres. You go to the halves. Now. It's Matt Burton in the 6 and Kyle Flanagan in the 7. Max King and Ryan Sutton front row. Reid Marnie into the number 9. Viliami Kikau and Raymond Fatala Marin in the back row. And then Fatmanu Brown is the lock. Jaden Tanner, Corey Waddell, Franklin Pele, and Jacob Preston are the interchange, with Braden Burns, Carl Oluwapu, Curtis Marin, Jackson Tapine, and Jaden Ockenbaugh as the reserves. I feel like I have to take the Storm here, but what I was laughing about just then is that this Dogs team will click at some point, and this Dogs team will be a 17th place team at some point. They are either going to play like a red-hot, fiery, motivated, dominant team with their speed, their pace, their electricity. But I can't back a team in going up against the Storm in Melbourne with Kyle Flanagan as your halfback. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't think I can do it. I'm going to take the Storm here to still win even without Munster. And everyone's going to be impressed and all that. But I just don't know how I can see the Dogs winning this game. You know, don't listen to the hype, because Dogs fans are going to circle jerk them and say they're going to win everything. This is why everyone gets so confused. The Dogs are so hard to predict and so hard to see for a season and games, because you hear all the Dogs fans saying 13 plus this, 13 plus that, top 8, top 4, top 2, top 1, top 0. You hear everything with the Dogs fans, and it confuses you because you listen to them. You give them credit. I like to listen to fans of other teams to know what they're thinking in regards to their team, let alone other teams. But Dogs fans frustrate me because they confuse the shit out of you. Because you start to believe their hype, you start to think about their hype, and then it just comes crashing down, man. It comes crashing down. That's exactly what happened against Manly. So I'm going to take the Storm here. I can see a world where the Dogs win. I really can. Especially with no Munster. Especially, no Pappenhausen. Players are out here for Storm. This is a susceptible match for them. The Dogs have a target. This is a real good target game to capitalise on a weak Storm team. I'm not going to be the one to back the Dogs in. If you want to back the Dogs in, back the goddamn Dogs in. But for me, I'm not going to back them in against the Storm in Melbourne. If this was in Canterbury, I still probably take Melbourne, but I would definitely have more of a think about who I would tip. I would have more of a thought process there. But overall, I'm not going to risk it for the Dogs. I can't until I see at least something. I really can't. All right, let's go have a look at the chat. Mark Lincoln says Travis the first time. Brighton says, geez, rough start, Dogs fans. Peter Bulldog says Bulldogs 20 plus. Bro. Sal, this is what I mean, guys. This is what I mean. Sal says, I hope somehow we do it. It's not like it's out of this world. Like, you should realistically be winning this game. You realistically should be winning this game. There is 2 spinal members out. It's only 4 spinal members, technically. I think there's 5 with a lock. But there's only 2... there's 2 full spinal players out. One of them being the best 5'8" in the game, one of the best players in the game in general, and the other one being one of the top 5 fullbacks in the game, Ryan Pappenhausen. This is a target game with the Dogs. They should be winning this game, but until I see something from them, I can't put a tip with them. I can't. I can see this being 1-12 Storm, 13 plus Storm. I can see a world where it's 1-12 Bulldogs, and I can see a world where it's 13 plus Bulldogs too. I can see a world. I'm just not willing to back it. Manson Bulldogs 20 points. Yeah, he's a Dogs fan, bro. Woodard said, this is what I'm talking about in regards to Dogs fans. Woodard says, man, I was disappointed with the Dogs and Tino's son. Maybe there's still a few injuries that you think might impact this match, maybe. Medvedev, of course, man. What you thinking? Medvedev, of course I think there's about the impacts the match, brother. Like, what you mean? Okay, there's just Dogs that are 20 plus. Medvedev says, yeah, that's the bright side of the Storm. They're playing against the Bulldogs who got dismantled by Manly. Melbourne do still have some injuries, though. Yep. Yeah. Shay. Dewey Tiger says, in my opinion, Bulldogs need a new halfback, and I reckon they should go for Trindle because Hines is over Trindle. I wouldn't say no to that, really, if I'm... At least give it a crack, because Carl Flanagan's not working. At least give it a crack. I don't think Sharks... Then again, it depends on the injury, because obviously the Sharks still want to have a backup for Nico Hines, right? They're not going to want to let go their best backup, truly. It's not a bad shout, though. It's something the Dogs could look at. But when Gaskell comes out and says they don't want Mitchell Moses because they've got other priorities, it's like, no, you don't. You don't have other priorities. What's your other priorities? What's more priority right now than signing a 7? What is more of a priority than signing the key position in the game right now, in the halfback? I don't get it. If you don't go for Mitchell Moses, who are you going for? Because now you're going to take a step back and go down to Braden Trindle, which is not an insult to him, but it's not Mitchell Moses, even though Mitchell Moses goes missing in the big games. Not the point. It's still a big drop-off. I don't understand why he said that that's not a priority. It absolutely goddamn is. Kat says, Storm 13 plus, I'm going. Sassy ain't wrong, man. What are the Dogs' record in Melbourne? It wouldn't be great. I'm pretty certain the last time they won this was like 2017 or something like that. I really think it was. A Legend says, haven't beaten them there since like 2014. There you go. Legend says, Dogs should go for Dewey. Well, Dewey's the 6. Dewey plays the 6. I wouldn't say that Dewey and Burton are going to work out well. Dewey had a great game against the Titans, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't back in Dewey working in the 7, especially here for the Dogs. You need someone who is an out-and-out 7 here. You've already got a Matt Burton floater, rolling around in that 6 jersey. I don't think you need to compete with him with an Adam Dewey. That's not for me. That's not for me. I personally would. I can see the world, I can see what you're saying, but that's not for me personally. I would want someone who is an out-and-out 7. And a lot of people say the 7 and 6 isn't too different nowadays. I get what you're saying, but also no. Will Marcus says, we go to where the Dave Feeder resign. We'll get to that in the Titans, bro. We'll get to that in the Titans one. But we'll move on to the next game here, guys. We've got 2 games to go here, and then we'll do a little bit of a review chat. We can talk about whatever. We do have 2 games to go, and the second last game of the round is going to be... Oh, well, at least I don't have to stream this game. At least I don't have to watch it. Thank God this is the game on Sunday, because I will be at Cogra for the Titans-Dragons game. But guys, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into this game. The West Tigers taking on the Newcastle Knights. The Tigers are at 16th right now after they got pretty easily, but not easily, but easily, but not easily, but easily, but not easily dismantled by the Titans there. There was flashes of brilliance for this team. There really was. But, again, proved my point perfectively. I don't know what that was about to say. I was about to say distinctively and perfect, and I went perfectively. So, forgive me. Gee whiz, I'm up at this guy already. Perfectly and definitively, distinctively. They have great forwards. They're going to get you into that attacking 10. They're going to push you all the way up the field. They're going to dominate teams in regards to the muscle and the physicality. But where's the backs to score the tries? Where are the backs to score the goddamn tries? They were in our 10 a good 60% of the goddamn game. Truly, like a good 55-60% of the game. But no one scored tries because 1, Luke Brooks isn't good enough. 2, no one's helping out Dewey. 3, they didn't bring on Api Sakota until late. And 4, they got no backs. They got no backs. Stephen Offalumo is not a great winger anymore. I'm sorry, he's not the same guy he has been in the past. Charlie Staines, come on, what's going on there? And Dane Laurie, this team frustrates me because the fans deserve so much better. I was there at Leichhardt. You know, as much as a lot of them were wankers in regards to us, like, why are you talking shit to us when you're the team losing to us and you're leaving with 10 minutes to go? But they're still faithful. You know, they're deserving of success, this team. And this team just constantly gets it wrong. You need to fix your halves. You need to fix your back line. Stop focusing on forwards, man. My God. And then the kicker was Api Sakota not starting. That had... Oh, man. I can't believe Lee Hutchinson Palace has a job there still. Truly, it does me in. It does me in. Moving on to the Newcastle Knights there. They obviously lost to the Warriors. They weren't great at all. They gave a lot of penalties, a lot of 6 against. They just were all over the shop. And I really feel like this is a bottom 4 team this year. I really do. I think Jackson Hastings, I don't think he did a great deal. To be completely honest with you, when he went there. Callum Ponga had assist. Don't think he did much overall. Defensively, same old Knights. Attacking-wise, same old Knights. I'm worried for them. I am. I'm worried for them because that's also another pretty solid supporter base that deserves a bit more than they actually get. They're deservingly favourites, maybe? Deservedly underdogs, maybe? I think Tigers, after what they showed against the Titans, there was still a bit of something, a bit of oomph there, but that's because of the forwards, no try scorers. But let's get into the 2-team lineups here. Brandon Tumeth, Junior Tupou, Justin Matamua, who I like, Stafford Toa, and Tukamahia Simpkins come in, with Fanua Bold going out. Dane Laurie in the fullback, David Nofaluma and Charlie Staines in the wings, Tommy Talau and Brent Naden in the centres. You got Adam Dewey in the 6 and Luke Brooks in the 7 with Stefano Utukamanu and David Clem in the front row. Api Sakota South starts. Well done. Thank you. Benji Marshall and Tim Sheens for putting your captain in your team to start the game. My God. Isaiah Papali'i and Sean Bloor come onto the back row, and then Joe Ofahengawi is the lock. Also, Sean Bloor, I'm not sure he's the guy either, eh? Jake Simpkin, Asu Kapoa, Alex Seafarth, and Alex Tuwal are the interchange. I thought they also forced the ball into Alex Tuwal's hands a bit too much as well. With Stafford Toa, Junior Tupou, Tukamahia Simpkins, Justin Matamua, and Brandon Tumeth are the reserves. So, again, Tigers fans, it is actually out of love. Like, truly, I want to see you do better. You know, packed out Leichhardt. This game's at Leichhardt as well, by the way, guys. They suck at this ground. Like, they genuinely, they suck there. They never win. They never win at Leichhardt. It's crazy. They're actually getting rid of Leichhardt at the end of the year, so I was really, grateful to actually go to that stadium again. For one last time, to see my team play there. It was fantastic. Great day out. They're getting rid of Leichhardt over the end of the year, unfortunately, because New South Wales government took away the funding. But it is out of love, Tigers fans. I understand where you come from because I'm a Titans fan. I know how it feels to be shithouse constantly and not see a shining light. We've got a shining light right now. You guys, unfortunately, it's a bit further away. You're trying, but your organisation needs a shuffle, eh? But it is out of love. Moving over to the Newcastle Knights now, you got Bro Jones, Dane Gagai, Dylan Lucas, Greg Marzio, and Tyson Gamble coming in, with Adam Elliott going out. You got Lachlan Miller in the fullback, with Heimel Hunt and Dominic Young on the wings. Dane Gagai and Bradman Best are the centres. Cameron Ponga is the captain in the 6, with Jackson Hastings as the halfback. Daniel Saifidi and Jacob Saifidi front row, Jaden Brayley into the hooker. Tyson Frizzell, Lachlan Fitzgibbon back row, Kurt Mann is the lock, with Phoenix Crossland, Jack Johns, Jack Hetherington, and Leo Thompson interchange. Bro Jones, Tyson Gamble, and Naro Tuala, Greg Marzio, and Dylan Lucas in the reserves. Apparently, Greg Marzio was injured last week. Apparently so. There was reports that he just didn't get picked. There's no way you pick Heimel Hunt over Greg Marzio, even though Heimel Hunt might be a bit better defender than Greg Marzio is. They're not too far off, but they're both pretty average, damn well defensively. Yeah, I'm still super concerned about this Knights team. I'm super concerned about this Callum Ponga situation. Yeah, I'm going to take the Tigers here. I'm going to take the Tigers here at Leichhardt. I saw enough out of them. To take them. I think their forwards are so damn well solid, and that their forwards will force some tries in, hopefully. You know, and if Dewey can play like he did, like he crushed us at points. He scorched us at points, Dewey. Like truly, there were moments in that game where they dominated. Yes, we defended them brilliantly. The Titans' defense this year has dramatically improved. But there were moments, I don't know if you guys felt it watching the game, but for us at the stadium, it was a dramatic change in the way that game was where Dewey got the ball. Every time he did, it was just, you could feel the tension in the air, and it was just, they just kept peppering us. If it goes right for them, they'll win this game 13+. If it goes right for them. But it is also at Leichhardt, where they suck at. Truly, they are really bad at the stadium. They never, ever, ever, ever win at this stadium. Which is the better stadium. I don't know how they do it at Campbelltown, because that's a terrible stadium. I'm going to take the Tigers here. I'll take them 1-12, but I can see well, but they win 13+. I wonder how long the Knights are going to go before they start to think the Kaliponga situation's not working and actually make the change. Because apparently, I just don't know how long Adam O'Brien lasts. Even though the Kaliponga to 6 isn't Adam O'Brien's choice, he was told to do it. But I don't know how long Adam O'Brien lasts. Because if you're getting told to do something, then you're probably not a good coach, because they don't believe in your coaching tactics and your coaching system. And probably just don't want to go through the hassle of trying to find a new coach and whatnot. But I'm going to take the Tigers 1-12 there. Could see a well 13+ though. I really could. Alright, let's go up here and have a look at you guys in the chat. 3-9 is the record, Ket says. 3-9. Wait, what do you mean 3-9? I thought for a second that was about the Leichhardt. What are the Dogs' record in Melbourne? 3-9 is what you're replying to for the Dogs' record in Melbourne. I was like, they've played a lot more games than 12 games in Leichhardt. Alright, what else is there? For some reason, the Tigers don't like him. They only resigned him for 1 year. Peter Border says, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Legend says, can honestly see Tigers winning 13+. Woody says, you lucky man not having to watch this game. I'm a lucky man. I'm a lucky man. Very lucky man. Riley Kappa says they'll both lose. You're not wrong. And you know who the real loser is? The real loser is the person who has to watch this game. And that's not me. Kurt Menzies says Tigers would make meters easy, but the arrows lost in the game because they have no backs. Because they have no backs. Beat Bulldogs, just you hate me because I'm a Bulldogs fan. Bro, move on, man. Move on. No one hates you. You're just spamming. That's why the moderators are timing you out. I'm not timing you out, but it's annoying people because you keep spamming. No one hates you, dude. Just move on, man. Truly. Sal says Tigers got this. Brighton says Pooh Slinger game this one. Danglore wasn't bad besides that error where he just stared at the ball. Yeah, when Sammy Max scored. Terrible. Memphis says, I recall when we were watching Ant-Man reaction to this match and had mentioned the Tigers only running to the sides and not moving forward at all. We also saw you on TV at the end. Yeah, I posted that on my Instagram just then. The picture from the game. Legend says Tigers can beat the Knights 13+ here. I agree. Yeah, I believe. You know what? I might even do it. I'll back in the Tigers 13+. I'll go crazy. I'll go a little bit crazy. You know, get a little bit crazy. You know, get a little bit crazy here, man. Walnut Hill says Newcastle by 6. Fair enough. Why? Dewey Tiger says, who knows, Tigers might lose. No, both these teams want to lose this game. Truly. Like, this is a game where both these teams aren't great, but the Tigers probably have a bit more going about them. Pong ruined his career re-signing with the Knights. I wouldn't disagree. Memphis says it was great for that Tigers fan who was talking to you, sticking around right until the end while the other fans were leaving the stadium. That's huge respect. So Christian's actually a mate of mine. I've known him for about 8 years. I've known him for quite some time, since I was in some sledging NRL groups before I even did YouTube. Actually, probably about 10 years, actually. Probably longer. I don't know. Christian's a good dude. We have good banter. But he has to... Yeah. We chat about how our teams are shit quite frequently. Xavier Gunner says, is it just me or is Kaliponga Mario Fennec 2.0? Man, he cops a lot of concussions, eh? Truly. Truly. THC Sports says, would like to see the Tigers win. So would I. I wouldn't mind the Knights winning. I don't care who wins this game, but I just think the Tigers have a bit more about them, a bit more exciting. Warner Hill says, honestly, I would like to see the Knights win. Arrows cost us game, man. Yeah, you do. They do. They really do. I don't get why Dewey doesn't run the ball much. He will get 10 metres easy. Kurt Mann says, the Arrows let them down last game. They were good in possession, metres gained and everything, but they can't score a try. It's so annoying. Miller scored 52 with Supercoach, doing absolutely nothing. Brian Robinson says, Tigers won almost every stat in that game apart from errors and still got handedly beaten. So I don't know if that shows how good the Titans were or how shite the Tigers were. So I'll clarify there. The Titans were still clunky in attack, but defensively were superb. Like, absolutely fantastic. Aaron Shoop, unreal. Sammy Farrell's, unreal. Even Sammy and... Jojo's a good winger. But even Sammy was great defensively. You know, everyone did their part. Yes, the Tigers broke us down and they finally scored a couple of tries. But overall, the Titans never really looked like losing that game. They showed a little bit in the beginning of that first half after the first try of the Tigers that, you know, that Raiders and Broncos game from last year could be a nightmare and could return. But overall, the Titans defended very, very solidly. So... the Tigers did throw a lot at them. They did, but the errors did cost them. The errors did cost them, and not having Apisako Sal there from the start really did slap them early. It really did. Will Max says Tyson Gamble a good signing. Personally, I rate him. I don't rate him, but I like Lockie Miller would have to go to the 14 really, but in the same sense, Ponga should be fullback. It's just simple. They're not going to do it, but he should be. He should be. Legend says ever since Pearce left Newcastle being on a downward spiral. I would agree. So, guys, that is my tip there. I've got the Tigers. I'm honestly going to go 13 plus. I'm honestly going to do it. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go 13 plus out of the Tigers. I feel like they have enough in them. I feel like they'll come up against a nice team that's not as good defensively as the Titans were on Sunday. And they were very good defensively on Sunday. And we're about to get into them now. We are about to get into them now. Let's just make sure this is in the right area. It is. Perfect. All right. So, the Dragons versus the Titans game, guys. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new around here. But the Dragons are in 9th position with the Titans being in numero 2, baby. Dos. Number 2. Absolutely mad for me, the Titans are underdogs. They're absolutely mad. But then again, they were massive. They were bigger underdogs against the Tigers, which was even crazier. But the Dragons are $1.81. Titans are at 2-1. This is at Cogra. I will be there, guys. As you guys know, I got every Titans game. The vlog will come out on Monday. The Dragons obviously had to buy it. We don't really know what's going on with them. Most people are predicting them for the spoon or at least bottom 4. They do get an inclusion for this game they didn't expect, which I'll get to in a second. But the Titans and Dragons, I'm pretty certain we've got a pretty good record against them. I think it's relatively 50-50. I think it was 50-50 last year. Titans beat them once and Dragons beat them once. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Dragons go because most people have them from very lowly position. The Tigers, convincingly enough, had to defend for long periods, grounded out. That game last year, if that was last year, they would have lost that game 100%. But they won the game, and they won it relatively convincingly, which was fantastic. And on the back of defense, which has been something that we've never had in the 16 years we've been in a comp. So, fantastic performance there. They've got these 2 games here early, which I said they realistically should be 2-0, because I know I believed in them. A lot of other people thought maybe not, Sportsbet as well. Most people had these guys at the bottom 4 as well, but they showed quite a bit of oomph. But it is the Tigers. But also, it's like, if you're saying it's just the Tigers, then why were you tipping the Tigers? You know, people online go, oh, it's just the Tigers. Okay, well, that's cool. Well, if it's only the Tigers, then why were you tipping the Tigers? You know, they have that thought process. And that's why I said to you guys before the game started. The Titans win this game, it's only the Tigers. The Titans lose the game, you just lost to the damn well Tigers. You know, either way, it's a lose-lose in regards to the fans. So that's why you don't give a shit about what people say, right? Because no matter what, they're not going to care. They're just going to shin you regardless. So you go to the Dragons here, and the fullback is Tyrell Sloan with Matthew Fingai and Mikal Ravalawa in the wings. I feel like this might change a little bit, actually. Moses Sully and Zach Lomax as the centres, with Jaden Sullivan and Ben Hunt as the captain. So Jaden Sullivan's in the 6, but Junior Amone is actually meant to come back to this game because although he's been charged with illegalities, what I'll say, he's apparently allowed to play this game, which is mad for me. Absolutely just wild from the NRL. Francis Molo and Blake Laurie, the front row. Moses Mbai is the number 9. Ben Masila and Jaden Stewart, back row. Jack Bird, lock. Jeez, that 4-pack is underwhelming. Interchange, Jacob Little, Zane Musgrove, Toby Couchman and Michael Molo. With Josh Kerr, Billy Burns, Max Fianai, Tal Moan, and Aaron Woods, Sharon Woods on the reserve. So, a superbly underwhelming team here. I think their backline has potential, but in the same sense, it really just is an underwhelming team to look at. It really just is. Yeah. I actually think they're probably going to be better than I put them in 16th. Like, I think they might be able to still push for mediocrity. Like that, anywhere from 11 to 16, even 17, anywhere from 11 to 17. If they perform badly, then maybe I'll put them in my 17th after that week because at least the Dolphins won their first game. Moving on to the Gold Coast Titans now. You got my boy Brimdog Millionaire AJ Brimson in the fullback. Did the old Shusharuno in the game. Fantastic. Love to see it. Lofiana Camperera and Jojo Fafita on the wings. Obviously, we had them in the vlog with Aaron Shoop and Philip Sammy in the centres. Kieran Foran in the 6. Now, this is one I will emphasise here, guys. there is potential that they're just kind of giving him till game day. I don't believe it's that serious. I said this after the game. It didn't look that serious from the people I spoke to at the game. I didn't get a chance to talk to Kieran because obviously, they were doing tests and whatnot. But we don't feel like it's that serious. So I believe he'll play. If he doesn't, then it's only 1 week. It's only 1 week there, and he comes back for the game against the Storm at Gold Coast next week. But Kieran Foran, how good was he when he was on? Tanner Boyd in the 7 with Jimmy Jolliffe, who was in the vlog, and Tina Fasil Malawi as the front rowers there, the captain. Sam Verrills in the number 9 with my boy, Davey Fafita, baby. Re-signed with the club today for 3 years. Honestly, made me tear up, man. I've been backing this guy for 6 months, eh? I've been copping shit from you, not you guys specifically, but people in the chats. Obviously, you guys know him on Instagram, on Facebook, on everywhere, man. I've been slaughtered for this David Fafita nonsense, and I've told you, trust me, he's sticking by the club. I know him. I know what's going on, and I told you guys, trust me when I say David Fafita will stay, and he did stay. Anything could change, but I told you to trust me. And there you go. David Fafita has locked on with the Gold Coast for the next 3 years. Not going to talk about contract details, but it is lower than the 1.2, obviously, that he was on. Decently lower too. Joe Simpson to the back row, which I was super duper impressed with, man. I thought when Joe Simpson was coming across from the Dogs, he was going to be a bench rotation forward. I thought he was going to be okay. I've been really impressed with Joe Simpson. Actually had the most tackles in that game against the Tigers and came in for the ACL injury of Bobby Firma. So he really took on a high level, player and did really well. Did really well there, Joey Simpson. Great bloke as well, man. Just an absolute stellar bloke. And then Isaac Liu is the lock as well, who has been fantastic in the preseason and fantastic in that game. He just seems to work with this team. Not last year. Last year he wasn't great. This year he's taken a step up. He looks so much better, man. So much better. I think maybe Sammy Verrills coming in has really improved him there, and Kieran Foran. Interchange, Jaden Campbell, Wakey Fotawake, Aaron Clark and Sammy McIntyre, with Chris Randall, Tremaine Spry, Khalees Haas, Keanu Kinney, and Toby Sexton in the reserves. Now, in regards to Kieran Foran, if he is to go out, it's a tough one because you probably will see Jaden Campbell go into the 6. He played the 6 for the second half last week against the Tigers and was great. He is a 6'1" wing. He's been practicing everywhere in the off-season. So he'll probably slot straight in there, which I believe is probably the actual target for when Kieran Foran retires. JC goes into that 6 there. So Jaden Campbell could go to the 6, and then you probably see Chris Randall come in into that number 14 spot. Or there is the chance that Toby Sexton goes into that 6. There is a chance that Toby Sexton could get moved straight into that starting lineup with Tanner Boyd. And then he partners Tanner Boyd there. Or there's another chance that Tanner Boyd stays 7, AJ Brimson comes into the 6, and Jaden Campbell goes to the fullback with Chris Randall probably coming to 14, which I don't believe happens there because I'm pretty certain Justin's going to be a lot more stable with this spine this year and stable with this team. So I feel like AJ Brimson will stay in that fullback. I feel like you'll probably see JC go to the 6 and Chris Randall into the 14, but we'll see how that goes. I'm going to take the Titans here. I genuinely believe we're the better team. I think defensively we'll have their number. We went 1 apiece last year. People called me crazy when I said to beat the Tigers by 13 plus. We won by 12. 1 point off there. God help me. So sorry. And call me crazy again. I'm going to take us 13 plus. I'm going to say we go 2-0. I'm going to say we go 2-0. Maybe next week against the Storm might be a different story at home. But I'm going to say we go 2-0 here. And I'm going to say we win this game. And I'm going to say that we really establish ourselves as a team that, has a bit more consistency this year. The re-signing of David Fafita. The fact that if Kieran Foran plays, I think will be quality. I think we'll put him to the sword there. We have a good record against them. And I believe we win. I'm going to go 13 plus. So let me know your thoughts in the chat. All right. Let's go up here and see what you guys are saying. How great was that for a round 1 man upsets galore? Give the stream a like just simply because of how good this game is. Yeah, exactly right. Do it. Smack it. Will Mac, drop your comment from before. I can't see it now, but drop your comment from before so I can read it out again. It was about Dave, I think. Legend says Titans 13 plus. I love it, man. I love it. Brighton says Titans 13 plus. How the Dragons favourites? Legend says, I don't know, man. The Tigers are favourites, and now the Dragons are favourites. I don't know. Is there a world where the Dragons win? Yeah, there is. Is there a world where the Dragons get beaten 13 plus? I think it's relatively likely. If you want to go 1-12, be on the safe side, be my guest. But I truly believe that this team has such quality, and people don't look at it because, again, I tell you guys all the time, people look at the Titans and don't see quality because for so long it's been drilled into your brain that the team isn't good. And that's a fact. I agree with you. You're right. I agree. And it's the same with me. It's very hard to see this team ever as good because it's been drilled into your mindset for the last 16 years that this team has never been successful. Right? I know 2010 happened, but also it was too early, too fresh. There wasn't the investment as there is now emotionally from fans and players and people in general. Right? So no matter what this team does, until they prove that they're a consistent team, you will never believe it. I know how hard these guys are working. I know what these guys are doing, and the combinations are working, man. And that was an incredible defensive effort against the Tigers. So I back them in. It's going to be interesting to see what I do when they get to the good teams, but I'm happy to take a 2-0 start. Everyone put the C on Big Davey. Good shout. How good was he on the weekend too? Dewey Tigers is Titans 13 plus. Sorry, 20 plus. Wow. Evidence says David Feeder extending his contract until 2026 was really good news. What it represented was that for so long people have looked at the Titans and insulted the Titans for not having the ability to retain players, the Stars. They're a transition club, so a player will come there, rejuvenate their career, and then go somewhere else. James Roberts is a prime example. Is a prime example. Even Jared Hayne was forced there just to go somewhere else. It's always been a transition club, right, for the big-time players anyway, or retirees, right? And then there's also you can't re-sign your talent because... no one wants to go there because of the fact that there's no success, no history and whatnot. That signing today, the Broncos wanted him. They offered him. I don't care what the Broncos say because I know the actual story. Broncos offered him. And the Raiders, I don't know if they offered or not, but they definitely were in the hunt because he went down there, right? And toured and whatnot. But overall, it showed that he wants to be here. It showed that he backs in his club. And I know how much he cares. Like, I really do. I know how much he cares. If he doesn't go for 17 tackle breaks, 400 metres and 13 tries in a game, people say he's overrated. And you're just like, you're an idiot. TJC Sports is tip of the Titans and smash the Dragons. I love it. James Impulse is how can he play? I know. Most on the extended bench. I know it's silly. It's stupid. He shouldn't be allowed to play. He's literally been charged with I can't talk about it really because it's probably illegal for me to talk about it. I guess you can talk about what it's been said. Allegedly, he's done... No, I don't need to say it, but he's currently going through a pretty serious accusation, so I don't understand how a man like him can play. Legend says, Big Davies will score a double. Everyone captain him on Supercoach. I love it. And by starting over Little... Is he? Oh, that's right. Yeah, he is. Yeah, wow. Get my some emails. The only decent forward we got is Sewer, and even he is hit or miss. Yeah, agreed. Do they call him Brimdog Millionaire because he's on a 7-figure contract? No, mate. I call him Brimdog Millionaire because it's just a great name for him. We were talking about it today, actually. Because of that comment, he probably might not change it because he would get slaughtered for it because people would think that's the reason why he's changed his Instagram name to Brimdog Millionaire, but it's not. It's just what I've called him. It just flows, man. It's a good joke between myself and him and other people around. Legend says Lomax is probably the only decent player in that Dragons team. Also, he's not on a 7-figure contract, Jerome. Brimo I think he's on about 600k or something like that. Legend says Lomax is probably the only decent player in that Dragons team. Is he though? Is he? Bonesy Boy says Fair Feeder is one of my favourite players, such an explosive player, now such a loyal player, building something. Will Macker says, ever since Fafita was linked to the Broncos, I didn't want us to sign him. We don't need another second rower. We need to invest in a Flegler replacement and a good hooker and also re-sign players. That's great. That's fine. But in the same sense, he's better than both your back rowers in Ricky and Catewell. But in the same sense, I don't think that's a priority at all. Absolutely. But you're definitely not telling me that Ricky or Catewell are better than David Fafita. Warner Hills is Titans 112. I'll take it. Khan was a statue last game. No, it's a rookie. That was his debutant game in a tough game where we didn't have any possession. I think we got done 60-40 possession-wise. We confidently won that game with 60-40 possession-wise. Like, how are you going to expect Lofiana Khan to do anything in that situation? And also, a big reason for that is that we're finding so much success down the left-hand side, the right side defense of the Tigers. Left side attack with Philip Sami, Jojo Fafita, Dave Fafita, Jojo Fafita, Philip Sami, Dave Fafita. That side was working fantastically. Why would we need to go down that right side? The right-hand side defense for the Tigers was woeful. Alofiana Khan will stand up, bro. I don't know why we'll be expecting anything too much from that game. Hopschool says, when do you think Papanaz will be back? I'm not sure, bro. I think around 10 or 11. JC, amazing pass to Brimdog was amazing. JC's a great player, bro. He really is. Zane Potter says, if their own plays, Dragons 40 plus for sure. Want to bet, Zane? How much do you want to wager? Mevita says, Boyd had a pretty good game. Beardsman says, okay for Feeder. Less money means he's looking to build a great legacy for me. Absolutely. Yeah. And the reports are that it was 800k a year for 3 seasons. So 2.4 mil over 3 years. Which is definitely not overpaid. I think most were looking going down, grading to like 950 in the public's opinion, but 800 is fine with me, if that's the right one, obviously. He's not going to tell me, we're not going to talk about finances and whatnot. Chris with Aussie says, I think the Broncos and Cowboys will be a good match. Hey, by the way, guys, we've done talking about the... sorry, I didn't actually do my tip. I've taken the Titans and I'm taking third place. But there we go, guys. So we're going to talk about... We're just going to have a chat now about whatever. We'll go for another 10 minutes or so until 6:30 my time, 7:30 your time. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Don't forget I'll be streaming every game this weekend besides the Sunday games. And I think Antonio's probably going to stream them. He might not come down, but I will be vlogging. So hopefully he stays here. Hopefully he streams for you guys. But I'll be vlogging for sure, yeah. Zane Potter says, realistically, Titans should win this by 20. Pereira should get a few tries if he's on Sully and Ravalawa's side. Yeah, well, we found success on the other side, so I would love to see him get some success, but overall, it just depends on if the game flows down that way. Guys, somebody says, legend, he carried the Dragons, he played in Origin, scored the winning try, you muppet. Oh no, what's he saying about Ben Hunt? Oh no, what's he saying? Oh, he said something about Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt's great. Angus Fall says, how are Dragons favourites? That's an easy money beating Titans in this game. I agree, Angus. I do. I agree. I'm a Titans fan, so I'm going to agree anyway, but in the same sense, like, I find insulting. I do. It's relatively insulting, especially with how well the Titans beat the Tigers by at Leichhardt. It's an away game. The Titans, away game, brand new team. It was a convincing win. They just held out defensively over and over and over and over again. The pressure is also what forced the errors to the Tigers. But people don't look at that. They just look at the Tigers knock on, so it's the Tigers' fault. It was a mixture of both worlds. Fee's better than Ricky and Catewell, but Piakura is supposed to be the next best thing. I think it's more important for us to keep our players, have good middles and a good hooker. Yeah, I wouldn't say Piakura is the next best thing, but in the same sense, good luck. Legend, if he wasn't for the Dragons, he would have come 15th. No, you would have come 16th. You would have come 16th without Ben Hunt last year. Doxo Forces, when does the second row of hooker Tealey's come out? I don't know if they're going to come out, man. I really don't. Unfortunately, I left them a little bit too late. Next year will have to be the year we smack those out. I just think it'll look a little bit silly if I did them now, and I've got Super Coach video I'm going to do out tomorrow, and then we've got the streams again. It's unfortunate, man. It really is. But yeah, second rowers and hookers are probably going to miss out this year. Giles, people are crying about Pereira because he got 5 at Super Coach. Yeah, but the thing is, man. Okay, let me put it this way for you. Okay, hold on. Let me have a drink first. One more sit. No one ultimately gives a shit about your Supercoach score. Truly, I don't care if my team gets 0 if the Titans win. Like, that's not how it works. But the point of the matter is that I could be in a $500 money league for my Supercoach, and if it means the Gold Coast Titans win, if I get 3 points in my fantasy team or Supercoach team, I'm taking the Gold Coast Titans win. The players don't care. No one cares. So it's like, Pereira for me, it doesn't matter about the 5 points. I don't care what opposition fans are saying. Like, you do you guys. But overall, Pereira will be good. Take him out of your team. If you don't like it, no, I'm not saying this to you, by the way. I'm saying in general. Take him out of your team. But I can tell you right now, not a single person at the Gold Coast Titans is giving a shit about Supercoach. I have him in my team and I played him. I don't give a shit about Supercoach in regards to that. I love it. It's good fun. Supercoach is great fun. But like, people have just such high expectations, man. It truly is. He's a rookie debutant in his first game away from home at a cauldron like the Leichhardt Oval. That place is a fiery place to go to, man. I can tell you. I was amongst the crowd. I don't know how the Titans weren't the favourites against the Tigers either. Absolutely does, mate. Mevita says, the Titans beating Dragons last year with an Isako try at the end was mind-blowing. I hope this match will be good, but I can't see the Dragons doing anything that will be a threat. Titans win easily. Yeah, that was a magic round game. Pouring down rain as well. Yeah, pouring down rain as well. For sure. Will Macca says, I might just be hoping Piakura is the next best thing because we've got him on 400k. Might be lying to myself. Like, Piakura is just like everyone else who has potential, man. Potential. Everyone who hasn't done anything yet, I literally just say potential because Selwyn Cobbo had the most. He was the next Greg Inglis in the fullback. Had that go on the weekend. Point of the matter is that potential is just kind of, it encapsulates everyone. I don't necessarily buy into others have. There is a clear, like, these guys have really solid potential, and these are guys, they'll be fine. They've got potential, but nothing too extraordinary. I lump a lot of guys in this category and a lot of guys in that category, and I think there is only 2 categories personally. Thoughts on Ezra Mann? It looks like he's in for a big year. I think Ezra's fine. I think he'll have hot and cold moments for sure. But I did like Ezra Mann in that game against the Panthers for sure, yeah. MMA says Titans 1 12. I hope so, bro. I think 13 plus, but, you know, I would love to see it. I would love to see that you are right. We've got 5 minutes left here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. We'll be doing a Supercoach video tomorrow. But shoot through your last questions and comments and whatnot, because I've got to jump on a Dragons podcast, actually, in about half an hour's time to talk about the Titans-Dragons game this week. Lennon says, we already talked about the Dolphins. Yeah, we spoke about the Dolphins and how good that was there for them. Well, we did speak about that one. But, you know, I think it could be a bit of a one-off there occasion. But if they win again this week, then who do they play next week, actually? Who do they play next week? It's a good question. I would love to see them play another good team, because obviously the Raiders aren't really a good team. Round 3, the Knights. If they win this game against the Raiders, they might be 3-0. They might be 3-0. Then again, this would be their first away game as well, though. That's their first away game. And then they play the Broncos, who is basically their twin brother that they'll pretend to hate, but realistically, they're all Broncos fans. Realistically. Can we talk about the Knights at Newcastle, though? Yeah. No, it's not live. That's not live. That's somebody else's podcast, not mine. Knights at Newcastle, that's what I'm saying. It's an away game, so it throws a little bit of a cat amongst the pigeons there. Dolphins got an easy run to start. Yeah. Well, no, they had the Roosters. You can't claim that as easy, but at least they've got a good couple of games here, and they won that one. I just think it's crazy for us to have someone who plays one game a year to be on 400k, no matter how good they're supposed to be in the future. I mean, yeah, that's ridiculous business. It's silly business, realistically. That Broncos-Dolphins game should be a sellout. Well, they're all Broncos fans, so yeah, they're all Broncos fans. Every single one of them. Every single person in attendance in that game is a Broncos fan. Because why? Because the Dolphins was the feeder club for the Broncos for about literally ever. So the Dolphins fans are actual Broncos fans. If any Dolphins fan says to you that they hate the Broncos, they're full of shit. They're full of shit. Because last year, they were Broncos fans. Get why something now says, in my opinion, Spine should be 1 Sloan, 6 Amon, 7 Sullivan, 9 Hunt. Yeah, but we all know that the Dragons want Hunt as that 7. Dolphins developed a 30-something-year-old Benji Marshall, guys. Come on now. Yeah, I saw that. That's just silly, eh? That's just silly. Giants' thoughts on Dwayne Bennett. If you watch me on TikTok, bro, if you're on BKRsport, YouTube, TikTok, you'll know my thoughts on Dwayne Bennett. You'll know my thoughts on that one. So go follow my TikTok, BKRsport, YouTube. And know my thoughts on that one, because that's an interesting character, isn't it? That is an interesting character. Wayne Bennett, if he coached the NBA. Yeah, no, it's just I think some rando dude they put in there as like one of their marketing things. I don't know. It was some marketing thing where they did think, honestly, I'm going to have a field day with you, Muppets. So I'll have a field day with you at Seabus. I can't wait for you to come to Seabus. You're going to get torn to shreds. You Dolphins fans or Broncos fans, you're going to get torn to shreds. Legend, it's the Dolphins mascot, I think. I thought it was that random dude in that video. I have a Muppet mate that was a Tigers fan, he's now a Dolphins fan, he's never been to Redcliffe. People do that, you know, it's like when Manchester City bought Melbourne City, I did consider doing the swap, because obviously I was a Man City fan before Brisbane Roar, so I did consider that, but in the same sense, I went to a couple of games in Melbourne City, I was living in Melbourne at the time, I didn't care. You know, he'll go back, the support will fade pretty quickly there, and he'll go back to being a Tigers fan, to be completely honest with you. But guys, I'm going to jump off. I appreciate you guys as per usual. Obviously, smack that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. A Supercoach video tomorrow. I'll do it live as well with you guys. Looking through trades and player analysis and all that kind of jazz. Like I said, we'll do it live. So, yeah. Thumbs up, subscribe. Check out the vlog if you haven't already. The Titans versus Tigers vlog that I put out yesterday. Edited it pretty well. I had fun with that one. So, enjoy that. I'll be out at Titans-Dragons game on Sunday, so that means that the last 2 games of the round I will not be streaming unless Antonio is here. Then he can stream those 2 games. I'll be down there in that vlog coming up Monday. I'll be streaming all the other games, though, for sure. I'll be streaming all those other games. But I appreciate you guys, like I said, and let's get ready to rock and roll for another round. Let's get ready to rock and roll for round number 2. Alright, guys.